Most organizations today are goal driven and analytic oriented, right? And setting the right goals is key for driving performance and moving the organization towards its long term vision. Now, let's say team goals and performance objectives require the contributions of everyone of the team. When you go to work and imagine everything is just on you, you're telling your team or you're telling your colleague to help you, but nothing much is being done. Do you know how much stress and pressure you are going to be experiencing today during the pandemic, right? If there was no proper teamwork, do you think businesses will be able to survive? That's why the best team goals are co created with the team members and aligned with larger organizational goals. Thanks to all these large organizations and some companies who have not laid off their employees, they have found a way, and there are still a lot of people working, right? However, on the other hand, there are a lot of people who also lost their jobs. So team goals have some important differences from the goals you might set for yourself. Think of it like this: when you're playing sports, you have like a individual sport like tennis, and you have, or like when you're playing squash, right? And what about team sport like basketball, soccer? Don't you need teamwork for that? And that's why when it comes to attributes of team, having the urgent need and what kind of market executive, it doesn't matter what position you hold. You are trying to understand the crisis in catalyst for change. Change is very, very important. There's change persuading you, convincing you. That's why during today's time, when you have these kind of situations happening, it is actually motivating people to do better. Having clear goals. It's not only about waking up in the morning and just say, okay, I have to go to work. This is what I'm going to do. But it's more than that. So let's say, as an example, coaching and mentoring is really popular, right? And even in organizations, you have coaching. Okay. Let's say that as a if you have a coaching client, okay, let's say you have a coaching client and recently came to a coaching session saying her team needed to improve on communication with internal stakeholders. She's a senior director of the team that provides enterprise wide support, meaning there are so many things that she needs to, teach. And some of the divisions need, like tech company support, and they have simultaneous projects that need the team's attention. She's a leader, and she wants her team to improve and understand better. Her team recently, for example, is double in size, right? If you have that kind of client and is hiring new people and wants to increase demand, what do you think you're going to be doing? How are you going to make sure that the quality of work and many internal stakeholders want to improve? Now think about it: when companies complain or your clients complain to that they are not receiving updates of projects, or they are not satisfied with the product or service, are you still going to be quiet about it? Are you still going to not find a solution? Are you still not going to be able to find out, okay, what could be the better approach? You're not going to sit quiet, aren't you? You're going to make sure that you're going to find a way of how you can actually make benefit, or what could you do to improve and find solutions. Okay? That's when you need to have proper team goals, right? So setting team goals collaboratively with your team has many benefits as a leader, your team members, and the organization as a whole. Now, if you have a team member and it doesn't cooperate, does not do anything, and is very rigid, very scared all the time, and it has been so long, and the person is not even trying, then I guess sometimes with these kind of circumstances, that person is actually fired or has to be, laid off, or, finding out Like, why is this person really behaving like that? Is it really hard for that person to be part of a team? Would there be another department for this person that this person could do better? Or the person is just not trying and not understanding the values of the organization? So team goals provide a clear direction and plan of action for the team. You are facilitating better accountability and encourage ownership. Sometimes you're so tired. You are encouraging, you are motivating, you're telling your team, you're telling people to brainstorm, to try, but you see that nothing much is happening. Now, there is a solution. There's always a solution where you have KPIs. You are actually monitoring the key performance of your employees. You are contributing to their professional growth and development of new skills among team members. Many of the teams are being sent for training. And even though investment in training and the group of people are not improving, then of course, a lot of companies, they don't want to sit and waste money, right? They don't want to sit there and just keep paying their staff. What they might do is find a new hire, find someone else who can actually, um, take place. Now, the thing is, if organizations are not finding ways to improve, that is one thing. But if they are doing everything and they are trying to provide a structure for measuring individual and group level progress, still the people are not, they are not participating, they're not collaborating, they're not encouraging, they're not cooperating. What do you think is going to happen? You, the person would lose their job. And we must not forget that nowadays many jobs are replaceable. Okay. And it is important to find a way that if you think you need improvement, for example, in something, how can you identify? How can team goals can be used to evaluate that performance? What is it that you are finding finding difficult to do? You can always talk to your team. You can always find a way. But if you or anybody or a person is actually resisting to this kind of change, then what do you think might happen? So the practice of coming together to define and agree on goals is beneficial, and itself giving the group time and space to reflect where they are, what the team has accomplished, right? And make sure that you're providing opportunities to clarify, highlight conflicting priorities, right? Now, let's say, how can you create smart goals? Okay, so smart goals are very important when you want to improve, when you want to highlight teamwork. Now, let's say an example of a senior director, right? When it came to communication of the internal stakeholders, how can you use SMART goal here? So SMART goal is using a framework of being specific, measurable, attainable, and relevant. If you're talking about being specific, then aim to articulate the team goal, make it very clear, identify how you're going to measure this, and state the goal in a way that is challenging and possible to achieve. See what is relevant, right? How you could make the goals relevant and important to the team and the organization. And lastly, time bound. You don't want to take your sweet time just to find out how you're going to be clarifying this. You need to have a deadline. If you don't change, if you don't find a solution quickly, you don't have a contingency plan, your business, your product, or anything could be jeopardized. You may even come to a point that you might lose your job. And that's why target date of the goal to achieve it, for example, is very important. Okay, that's why the goal must be focused, specific, and clear. You need to have measurements that how are you going to do this. Now for this case, what can you do, like weekly updates for internal stakeholders, right? You're finding proactive communication with internal stakeholders. You are also having weekly communication for relevant and realistic goals for the staff members, and make sure that every 3 months you are actually you know, having performance appraisal, and you're finding out how you can actually improve this. Because think about it, if you don't find a way to improve this, one must not forget team goals can also help employees feel more invested in the company objectives since they contribute in developing them. You might be part of a team, but don't forget that your team member might be the one helping to contribute in making the goals. So, setting goals as a team, giving everyone the opportunity to display and develop the skills is important. So, whenever you're working, keep the company's goals in mind. It's always a good idea to contribute to broader company goals, right? Because before you set your own team, you're ensuring the team understand the company's objectives. Let's not forget nowadays, for since a long time, customers matter. If there was no proper teamwork, then a lot of businesses would fail. Okay. Later, I will share with you the successful organizations after the break that are very good with teamwork. Also, organizations like Lazada, Shopee, Grab, small businesses, how their teamwork has enabled to redesign companies' objectives and help the business to survive, thrive during this time, that also providing a lot of people jobs. That's why the SMART criteria for setting goals is actually quite simple and very important to use. So let's say that you want to succeed. Now, the goal is to improve the click through rate, right? Nowadays, you are kind of like everything is online. So, how can you improve the click through rate? Let's say you want to improve by 10%. Then you got to be specific on how you're going to do that. How are you going to measure the progress? What kind of action that are you going to take? Are the goals that you're making measurable? And is it easier and easily to be divided? Or is it complicated to monitor? So you're measuring the progress towards a goal by improving, not making it more complicated. So is it attainable? Is it achievable? Okay. What kind of resources do you have access to? Now, when you say relevant, you have a problem to solve. You're not going to sit there and just find a solution for something else, right? That's why the team must be motivated to address many issues, relevant team goals, and guarantee that you're resolving the most required issues, okay? And that your team has the resources and skills to accomplish that goal. You know how it feels when you've actually accomplished a goal or a problem has been solved and there has been a win-win situation? That is so nice, right? Now you have also time related, um, you have time that is limited, right? Because we think, oh my God, we have so much of time, we can just take our time and we can do this and that. But it's not true. Think about it now. We are already in September. Do you ever feel that 2021 just started and we're already in September? Did you ever think about something like that? That's why team goals and when you have projects, having deadlines are very important. Okay. Otherwise, being able to not finding an action plan can actually make it difficult. That's why companies are using proper database system and they're using a lot of software for